Hi and welcome to episode 80 of the This Is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law. I'm the founder of This Is Reportage and This Reportage family, and I'm a photographer too. I absolutely love chatting to the fab Erica Hawkins this week. Erica is a fantastic UK-based wedding and family photographer. She's won 3 Reportage Awards from us for her wedding work and was also ranked 14th in the world on our documentary family site, This Reportage Family, for 2020, and has won 11 awards from us there. We talk about both arts in the episode today. I found it really inspiring to talk to Erica, as she talks so openly and honestly about so many subjects, including capturing her own family during lockdowns, anxiety and nerves, finding out she had cancer, how she won a gallery spot with the renowned Taylor Wessing Photographic Portrait Prize at the National Portrait Gallery in London, imposter syndrome, branching out into teaching and branding photography, filming on stage at Glastonbury, shooting a Don't Tell the Bride wedding, and so much more. Hey Erica, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Yeah, all good. What's up with you at the moment? And where in the UK are you?
I'm in a little town called Hitchin in Hertfordshire. I'm currently sitting in my bedroom. It's very hot. I've got the window shut because we've got some builders outside. And I don't want their noisiness sneaking in.
Did I see one of your kind of like, was it builders in one of your recent Reportage Family Awards?
Yes, that is our current extension, which hasn't kind of progressed that much more than that picture, which was taken about 12 weeks ago. So.
Oh, cool. That's exciting though. What kind of extension are you having?
Well, we've actually brought our next door neighbour's house, well, half of their house. Wow. We've kind of, which sounds really glamorous, but we only live in like a 2-bed, a kind of a cosy 2-bed in Hitchin. And so we're basically going to have a cosy 3-bed.
Oh, that's cool though. That's cool to be able to do that. That's really cool.
One of the best things about the pandemic was that we were going to extend our house, and then we heard our neighbours saying they were going to move, and we were like, okay, hold on a minute. And my husband's an architect, so it kind of all came together perfectly. So this wouldn't have happened without the pandemic. So
that's cool, isn't it? It's cool to think of things like that, good things that have happened from it. I know there's not a lot of good things at all, but there have been a few, haven't there?
That's definitely up there. So it's a good one. But no, it's been a crazy year.
It's been mental, isn't it? By the way, it's funny how I recognised that from your description, that image that you just won, because I thought that was really cool. Was it your son kind of like looking out on the building work?
Yeah, that you'd think it's the morning, but that was actually like 4:00 in the afternoon because he's in his pajamas. But yeah. That's how we roll. But yeah, I think it's so nice because they're so interested in it, and I always knew I wanted to take pictures of the project. Obviously, my husband doing the design and me being a photographer. I love the fact that we've got something a bit more interesting to take pictures of again. So I think the builders get a bit fed up with me, like coming out and like taking their pictures, and I always have to give them a drink afterwards.
Who's that crazy woman with the camera again?
Yeah, she is again. But they know the coffee's coming, so.
That's good. They put up with you then.
Definitely. But it's been good. It's been good fun, and hopefully we've only got like another. I keep on saying 10 weeks. It always seems to be 10 weeks away. So, but yeah, hopefully 10 more weeks and it might be finished. So
that's exciting. It's
very exciting. But at the minute, it just means my husband's still working from home. I'm at home most of the time, and we're kind of living out of one room.
All right. So, that's tricky.
Yeah. It's not that fun.
I read on your site that you spent most of last year documenting your family, obviously as the pandemic robbed us of most of our weddings, which you said as well, and you did an amazing job of it, Erica. You came 14th in the world on this Reportage Family, and 4th in the UK with 7 awards. It's amazing. So cool. So yeah, I mean, can you tell us more about that time then? Had you done much family photography before?
Well, I've always loved capturing my own family. Like that probably has guided my photography more than my career. Like I want to capture our family life. And so the minute the pandemic happened and I knew this like historic event was happening, it was a given that I would be taking pictures. And so I just one a day, and I also did a little video every day as well, just to try and kind of show the kids, because they're of that age where they probably they're not going to remember it in the same way that we're going to remember it. Fingers crossed.
That's true. And, how old are they?
So Jacob was 6 last year and Molly was 3. So that makes them 7 and 4 now.
Oh, yeah. I forget that they age each year, actually.
I know, it happens, doesn't it? It's really weird. But yeah, so I kind of made a point of, to begin with, it was just kind of like, I'll take a picture every day and that would be my thing. And very quickly I realised that I needed to take those pictures for myself. It was like a little bit of time out. My kids and all my family know when I've got my camera in my hand, they kind of don't expect the usual mum duties from me as much. So I feel like I could just have a bit of a breather when I was taking pictures, and I kind of, like, I'm a little bit more relaxed with the kids. Like, if they're doing stuff that normally I'd be like, get off, don't jump on the bed, climb off that wall, get off the wall. They know if I've got the camera that they'll get away with it a little bit longer, because I'm like, okay, I want this shot, so I'm just going to go fights in.
That's really funny, but they love it when you've got the camera. Then it's like carte blanche; they can do whatever they want.
This is fun time. So, and that's for me, I love it, and it's nice to see them. The pictures kind of tell this a completely different story. Like, as adults, there was so much worry and so much fear. And, the financial struggles that happen, when you're in the wedding industry, and my husband's pay got cut, and it was all really tense and really stressful. And my kids, the pictures, like, they're just being kids and they're having fun. And, they're kind of really making the most of that downtime with their mum and dad. And I really like the fact there's these parallel stories going on where we're full of, like, dread and fear, but the kids were, like, having the time of their lives.
That's so true, isn't it?
That was
it's very cool. It's very cool that you did that. I think that's awesome. Yeah, and it's cool how it's kind of therapeutic for you as well. And then
it really was. It was it was. I definitely needed to do it, and I think the beginning of last year was kind of extra kind of shitty as well, because I found out I had kidney cancer. Which was kind of really weird. It kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't poorly. It was found completely randomly. Just before the pandemic happened, I'd had my kidney removed, and that was kind of the end of my kidney cancer story. But it was the beginning of the pandemic, and like there was this weird time where, like, I partly feel responsible for the pandemic, because when I found out I had kidney cancer, I remember saying to my husband, I was like, I just don't want to be a wedding photographer right now. Like, because one of my first thoughts was like, I need to postpone a load of weddings that are coming up, because I can't, I might not be well enough to shoot them. And then I was like, I just need more time with my kids. And it's like someone heard me say those things, and they were like, we'll take care of that, Erica, don't worry. We'll cancel all your weddings. And we'll time with your kids. And I was like, oh, what have I done?
It's all your fault. It's all your fault.
I'm really sorry.
Oh, wow. Gosh. Oh, I can't imagine how stressful that must have been, though. Gosh. How are you doing? Are you okay? No.
Yeah, no, I'm all good. So I'm really, really lucky. It was found really early. So kidney cancer is a real slow growing cancer. Right. And mine was really small. So I think had I not have had the scan for something completely unrelated, I probably wouldn't have found out for like another 8 years. And by that point, it could have been too late. So I was really, really, really lucky. But it was just such a strange thing. It was a real weird thing to kind of go through. And it felt unreal. I think I didn't really process it because I was, a couple of weeks into recovering at home, which was awesome. I loved it. People were bringing flowers and chocolates and food. My husband was working from home and dealing with the kids, and I was upstairs in bed watching telly, and I loved it. And then something called COVID came along, and everyone stopped coming over and bringing me food and taking care of me. And then I had to look after the kids, and I was like, what's happened? It was a very quick, it's time to get over that now, Erica, and think about something different. But in a weird way, it's quite good, because it's sometimes a distraction's a good thing. And I think, I had I had the operation, and I get checked on once a year. I have a whole load of scans and stuff.
Right.
And then that's it. And kind of, hopefully, fingers crossed, that will be that little story.
Oh God, Erica, man, I just cannot imagine that kind of thing. And then the pandemic as well. It's like all these things happening to you. But
crazy. And I definitely felt like my cancer spotlight got robbed. I was enjoying a lot of that attention and being looked after. But hey ho.
Oh man, yeah. But then you had all that time with your kids as well. Were you having to homeschool though? And obviously you couldn't have been feeling well after going through what you've gone.
Well, I think I was probably at that point where, when people are like, come on now, Erica, you probably could get out of bed. So I was walking, I was moving around. So it was, and my husband was still at home. So anything I couldn't really do, like it took months and months and months before like my stomach was like strong enough that even now, like if I do something coughs, I can feel like it twinges.
Okay.
I've never ever been able to do a sit up in my life, and I could definitely not do one now without everything kind of like twanging inside. But it was funny because I think remember that time everyone was doing Joe Wicks for a little bit, and that kind of helped because I was kind of like, okay, I can't really do much exercise, but I could just sit at home and just be really lazy. But the Joe Wicks thing, I was like, okay, come on, kids. So that kind of eased me into kind of getting back on my feet, really.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
Oh man, amazing! You sound good now, so that's all positive.
I am good. There's a funny connection to my kidney cancer as well. I had I'd second shot for a wedding photographer who's from Hitchin as well, Rafe Abrook. And it's the second time I'd second shot really for anyone, and I was really nervous, and I don't really second shoot, and he'd kind of said, oh, come on, you could come and second shoot for me, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do it, but he kind of convinced me to come along, it'd be fun, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I second shot for the wedding, like back in September 2019. Mm-hmm. And it was fun. I loved it. I kind of got over my fear of second shooting. And then when obviously the whole kidney stuff happened, my consultant changed over. And so I had this one scary consultant to begin with, and he was really petrifying. And anyway, so he was leaving and a new one was coming in, and I was in the waiting room, and this guy called out my name, and I looked up, and it was Ben, the guy from the groom from the wedding I'd second shot.
The groom? No way.
Which meant, obviously, when you're second shooting, you tend to shadow the groom. So I was like, I was in a hotel room with him the morning of his wedding, like taking pictures of him ironing, and I was like, and now he's gonna take my kidney out. I was like, I can't believe this. It was the weirdest thing. It was such a weird thing. But
that is incredible coincidence. That is insane. Gosh, he must have recognised you straight away then as well.
He kind of looked, and I did this really awkward cuddle where I'm a big hugger, and I could tell he was like, oh, I'm being, I'm Dr. Ben at the moment, and this feels a bit weird. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. And I was asking him loads of questions, and he was like, right, let's sit you down and take your top off. And I was like, okay, this is a bit weird now.
Oh man, what a small world. That's insane.
It was unbelievable. It really was very strange, but it made everything so much better. Like my little journey suddenly I felt like someone was looking after me. I remember him kind of going through his diary, and he was like, right, let's look when we can book you in. And I remember thinking, oh, it's half term, it'd be really good to do it this date. And he looked in his diary, and it was just full. And I was like, oh, and then he was like, is this when you wanted it? And I was like, oh, ideally. And he just scrubbed everything out and put my name in his diary. And I was just like, oh, Ben. So awesome. It made it feel, and it's quite a scary and lonely process when you go through stuff like that. So having someone that just felt that they were looking out for me made a big difference.
Man, that's amazing. What a story.
I know. It was unreal, and I was so glad I did that second shoot because I really didn't want to do it. And again, it's one of those times when, when you push yourself out of your comfort zone, generally good things come from it, and that's one of those times. And I've kind of always felt with weddings, I feel like I'm meant to be doing them. There's been lots of little things like that have happened, and I'm like, so it's like something saying like this is the job for you. Even when I've kind of tried to turn away from it, things have been like, because I didn't want to shoot weddings after I found that out. I was like, I don't want to be a wedding photographer who's got cancer. Like I don't want that. And then Ben's there, and I was like, this is so weird. And again, it's like a weird sign. It's like, no, I'm meant to be doing this.
Yeah, meant to do it. Definitely. Yeah. Oh, I get that. Yeah, I get that thing about as well, doing scary things all the time. And I feel sometimes like, why am I doing this to myself? But there must be something in it that kind of just pulls me to it, even though I get nervous all the time. It's
it can be quite exhausting though, and I think I feel like I've limited myself. It was like sometimes it'd be really nice to not always feel out of your comfort zone. Like it'd be quite nice to just be quite relaxed. And I get so stressed, and like I think very quickly I realised that I couldn't do that many weddings in a year because I just get really anxious and I get so stressed before a wedding, and to the point that I think I'm not sure how healthy it is, and I don't know how much it's way more than you should expect for a wedding photographer. But yeah, so
how bad? I mean, are you feeling it like the days beforehand, like leading up to it, or
like the last 2 weeks? I've felt almost like sick in my stomach because my weddings are gonna start.
I get that.
It's horrible though, and I find it just sometimes it kind of it's what pulls me away from weddings. It's kind of like I can't ignore it because I think that it doesn't always go, and it's always there, and it doesn't really. I've been shooting now for 10 years. So this has been my 10th year, and I think where I've only ever done a small number in a year. I feel like I've never quite broken that kind of fear factor. I don't know if you ever do. So I feel like I'm just accepting that I'm going to be nervous and I'm going to be a bit anxious beforehand. And like my husband, like when I was second shooting for Rafe the week before, like my husband's like, you're not doing this again, Erica, because you've been awful. You've just been a nightmare to live with. And I don't want that, as much as I love wedding photography and I love doing the job. It's the build-up that just kind of really kills it for me, I find that really hard.
Well, I totally understand. If you've ever heard a podcast before, I talk about nerves quite a bit, and I feel like whoever I talk to, they're never as nervous as me. So you're probably the worst. I'm probably the worst person for you to talk to because I'm really nervous as well, though. I get really nervous.
It definitely helps, though. It kind of helps knowing that other people feel like that, even after doing it for a long time. That it might just be something you never get over, and
I think for some people it is, like maybe me and you. Yeah, definitely. So I've shot like 300 weddings. I still get nervous at each one. And like you, I hadn't shot in a while, and then I shot a wedding on Saturday. I couldn't eat. I didn't eat anything till 5 o'clock in the evening when I'd finished the wedding. I didn't have literally anything because I was nervous. It's
isn't it?
It is horrible.
It is, and I think for me, I feel like, and as well, my children kind of. They're of an age where, I'm waffling, I'm going off in different directions now, but I think that I quite like having a smaller number of weddings. And I think that it's taken me quite a long time to kind of feel confident enough to say, oh, I'm still a wedding photographer, even though I only do, 15 in a year.
That seems a good amount, though. That's a good amount.
Yeah, but I think for a while it was kind of you kind of question yourself, and you kind of think, am I a proper wedding photographer, or am I one of those people? Am I a weekend warrior? Like, but where am I proper? And I've had this battle in my head for so long, thinking I'm going to start doing more. Like next year I'll do more, or when my kids are both at school, I'll do more. And I think. Did you ever kind of, when you're growing up and you're at uni, you kind of think, oh, life will start after uni when I get a job, and when I get life will start properly when I get married, and when I have kids, life will start. And I've kind of done that with my career a little bit, and it's only been the last year when I've actually gone, why am I telling myself that I'm not taking myself seriously when I've been shooting for 10 years, and I did have another job, but it was a creative job doing photography and videography. And I feel like I've kind of have to kind of give myself a bit of a talking to and be like, no, come on now. Just because you're only doing 15 in a year, I'm still a wedding photographer.
Yeah, totally. It really doesn't matter how many you do. All that matters is that you're doing what makes you happy. I think that's the important thing. It doesn't matter about the labels of like, a proper wedding photographer or a weekend warrior. Or none of that stuff matters, does it? All that matters is that you're happy.
I think when you kind of suffer from a lack of self-confidence, that stuff kind of does. It kind of plays in your mind, and it's kind of, it's only as you get a bit more grown up and and you age, and you kind of realize what you've spent so long like worrying about silly things like that. And I think in some ways it's kind of held me back. I think if I'd just been a little bit more confident, not so much in the ignoring the anxiety and the worries, but just kind of feeling like confident enough to stand up and be like, no, it's like, it took me to even tell people I was a photographer, because I felt like I was like lying to them. I was like, I'm not, well, I'm a photographer. I'm not a proper photographer, but I am a photographer. So, and I've told you this before, you know, that massively changed when I did your course and like the workshop. And yeah, for me, that was like the first time, like, so my daughter was 1 and I thought, I'm going to start taking things a bit more seriously. I'll go on this workshop that some friends had said it was, you know, it looks good. And I didn't know anything about you or anything about This Is Reportage before, but I knew I wanted to focus on my documentary work. So, yeah, came along to your workshop, which was very good.
Thank you.
And I, as you were talking, kind of everything you were saying, it kind of just made me feel like so much more confident. And all of a sudden, you were saying things, and I was like, I kind of do some of those things. Oh no, I do. Oh, that's the lens I'm using. And all of a sudden, I felt like I could say, oh no, I'm doing things right. Some of the things I'm doing are what he's doing, and he's, you know, and he's awesome. So, you know, I really felt like I could stand on my feet a little bit more confidently, because it was the first time I knew what I was doing was right. And I know that sounded really silly, but yeah, it meant loads. And then obviously part of your course workshop, you talked about entering awards, and yeah, that obviously had a huge impact on my confidence.
And you've nailed it, and you've won so many. And you're so good. You should have no confidence issues whatsoever. It's funny hearing you talk about that, because you're just so good. It's so, I guess, but I feel it as well. It's a funny thing, isn't it? It's a funny thing. It's really funny. And I wish I could say to you that kind of like, you know, for me, that the nerves get better and stuff, but they haven't really. Do you know, the one thing that's made me feel a little bit better, you know, is actually since having kids. And I you know, it's made me feel a bit better about the nerves, because I think for each wedding, I know that I still get really nervous, but I think that at the end of the day, I know I'm going to do as best as I can. But at the end of the day, it sounds really odd, but that it doesn't actually matter that much, because it's my kids are at home. I'm going to go back to them, and that's kind of all that matters. You know, not in a bad sense. Obviously, I want to do a really good job for the clients, obviously, but there's just more important things.
Yeah, and I think in a weird way, the pandemic's kind of taken a little bit of those worries away, because I kind of think that these couples have had a lot of shit to deal with, like a lot of stuff to deal with, and in the past, the thought that, you know, like a wedding felt like this sacred thing that, you know, nothing should go wrong for a wedding. It's a wedding. It's like, oh. And I'm like, no, things do go wrong. And we've had pandemics. These couples have postponed. And actually, when you start seeing the smaller wedding going ahead, and you kind of like, no, it's not really about me and my photography, and it's about these guys. And, you know, like you said, I'm confident now that I know I'll do the best I'll do. But it's kind of made me realise you kind of get a bit self-obsessed and think it's, you know, they're not thinking about me anywhere near as much as I'm thinking about me. And they're not thinking about my work anywhere near as much as I'm thinking about it. And I've kind of allowed myself to kind of relax a little bit with that, hopefully. But I have still felt sick for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, no, I get that, Erica. No, I get that. But it does magnify when you haven't shot in a while, though. It does, doesn't it? For me, I still get nervous before each one, but I find during the summer season when I'm shooting week to week, I feel less nervous because you get in a kind of roll and things.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Ugh.
Definitely. Oh, it will. Oh, but it's so funny. I love talking about nerves, because it's, as you said, actually, it's just really good to hear that you're not the only one kind of suffering from it, and we're not the freaks. When I sometimes talk to some wedding photographers and they say they don't get nervous, I feel so jealous that they don't get nervous. I'm
always impressed. But,
yeah, because they say, I know people are trying, they're being nice when they say, oh, nerves are a good thing because it puts you, you know, it puts you in that heightened sense, and it means that you care and stuff. And I get that they're saying that, but I still wish I didn't get them.
Me too. Yeah. And my husband definitely would rather I not get like that, because I'm a nightmare. I'm not fun to be around when I'm super stressed. So yeah, I think he would rather, very quickly, he was kind of the one that's like, I'm not sure how many weddings you should do in a year.
Let's limit this, Erica. Let's limit.
Well, but yeah.
How are you like when you start in the day itself? You know, do they go during the day?
The minute I'm in that room, I'm much more calmer. Like, and it gets like as the day goes on, I start getting overexcited. Like by the time I finish, I'm on such a high. I'm driving home and and I'm giddy. So then he's happy because I'm super excited the next day and I'm like jumping around and then I start getting nervous because the next one's coming up.
Oh, yeah. It's so funny.
The day after is such a good day. I love the day after a wedding, and I just feel like I've gone through like a little mini trauma, and I'm like, yay, I'm home with the kids. I've done a good set. Yay. So I love that feeling, and that's kind of that balances it out, and and that's what it's about. It's like, as much as I don't like the feeling of being anxious and nervous, and delivering a good set and really enjoying the pictures I'm making as well. I get excited by photography, and I love looking. I come home and I back up and I start looking at them, and often my husband's like, come to bed, because I really enjoy looking at. I enjoy them, and I think as well, like keeping a smaller number allows me the time to. I'm not burnt out. I really enjoy those small weddings, the smaller number, and I can really get to know my couples like way more than I think I said to you. I'm not very good at business, and I give a lot of myself to my couples, and I get to know them. I spend a lot of time getting to know them because I can, and I think if I had like 40 odd weddings in a year, I just couldn't sustain that level of contact. Or I always include a pre-wedding shoot, although I think I posted recently that they're the most undocumentary thing in the world. But I really love getting to know my couples, and that's what it's about. It's not, I don't really care about those pictures, and I don't think my couples care about them either. But it's just a way to get to know them, and I can do that when I have a small number of weddings. So
that's true.
There's lots of bonuses.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, so I'm so enjoying talking to you. I'm just hearing a big smile on my face. I told
you I'm a waffler. Yeah, I do waffle.
No, you're not waffling at all. It's all super interesting stuff. It's so good, Erica. It's great. You mentioned, I've got a question here anyway, because you mentioned awards, so I'll bring it up now. Obviously, I mean, you, as I said, you've done so great. You've won loads of this Reportage Family Awards. You were 4th in UK last year, and you've won 3 Reportage Awards on the wedding site as well. So it's amazing. Honestly, it's so difficult to win one. So to win loads like you have is amazing. But one of your specific Reportage Awards that I love is one that's like shot in a mirror, and I think it's like the bride and her dad. I think is it like walking down the staircase.
To get married, yes.
That is so cool to capture that kind of moment in the mirror like that. It's just so cool. So yeah, I just could you tell us about that? Do you remember that at the time? Like it's a very obviously specific capture. So you must have seen it.
I think so. Offley Place is a venue I've shot at quite a few times, and the coming down the aisle, the coming down the stairs shot, I've kind of done in a few different ways, and just trying to find different ways to capture it. And then the window, the mirror, and I just thought, this is perfect. And I knew that the stairs were kind of long enough that I would get some other shots of them coming down. So, and then I'd make sure I'd turn around and get them coming down in the mirror, the reflection. So yeah, it was definitely one that I'd thought about and seen it and went for it. So like cool. my wedding documentary work and my family documentary work they're kind of different. And I think like I feel like I've got so much still to learn when it comes to the wedding photography, and I haven't really had the opportunity to kind of like dive into that as much as I have with my family. And well, even my family work, it's my family, so I feel like like I said to you, I feel a little bit of a fraud because they're my own kids. But
but that doesn't matter. It's still great family captures. It doesn't matter. It's your own kids.
But I do. I've got so much respect for people that are doing it with families that aren't their own kids. So, no one can feel more comfortable with my kids than I can. And when I see people producing like this amazing family work with families that, they're building that connection like on the day. And I think that's a different skill than what I do, where they're my kids and I wrestle them daily and I get into weird angles with them all the time. And I do think it's different. I do think it's different. And I appreciate the fact that my imagery is still good, but I do think it's hats off to them because I think they do an amazing job. So
I get what you mean there, but you shouldn't put yourself down just because the subjects are the ones you know really well. You still have to get those amazing shots. It doesn't matter that you know them well. But is it, is the family photography, is it something that you think, are you going to do more of for other clients going forward? Is it something?
Yeah, I would like to. I've got like a long line of things that I want to do when I have more time. So I think I've really struggled where like when I had my kids, I knew that I wanted to kind of give them more of my time than my career. And I always kind of knew that I was putting things on pause. So Molly's in full-time education from September. So everything's kind of like been building up to that. And it was kind of like when that's unpaused, then, you know, I can start to branch out a little bit more. But the last year, where normally we would have had childcare, we haven't even had any childcare other than the 2 hours a day she goes to nursery. So I'm kind of cramming my work in around being pretty much a full-time like mum. But obviously everyone's a full-time parent, but I'm the one looking after in the day, and I don't have any time to do much work really. So that's been a real struggle, and that's been normally what we thought was going to happen obviously didn't happen, and we didn't once things were kind of back up and running, couldn't really get things in place in order to have childcare. So it is a case of finding time to work and prioritizing different work. So families is one of those things. I'd love to do more documentary family work. I have never really done much family work because it didn't really appeal to me in the past. It was, I think my family almost put me off. My sister, like when I started getting into photography, she was like, "Oh, let's take some pictures. Let's take some pictures of me and my husband and my niece." And she would kind of get me in. My mum and dad had a conservatory, which we kind of put up a white sheet, and then she started like doing the piggyback, and I was just taking these pictures, and I was like, "These are horrible. They're really horrible."
Oh, I could get how that would put you off. Yeah.
And I was just like, "I'm not sure that I want to do this." And for a time, all of my friends kind of like, "Oh, take a picture of me with my little," and I would do it because making them happy would make me happy. But the artistic side of it and the imagery that I was producing just didn't float. It just wasn't for me. So yeah, I kind of didn't really think about it too much. And then I think when I just started to take the pictures of my kids that I loved, and then got such a great response to that, I just thought, if I could do this. And make any money from it in the future, then that would be amazing.
Oh, but you should definitely do it more, Erica. You're so good at it. Yeah, you should really do it. I wonder if it might be less nerve-wracking as well. Although I've not done that like many family shoots, but I've still been nervous for those as well. So
no, I think I definitely would be less nervous. I think I just need to do it. I just like so many different things. I just need to start doing it. So it's not like I've always been like, oh, I do a little website. I do a page on my website, and then I feel like I can cross it off. But then I'm like, no, I need to work a bit harder and actually start working with
it out there, Mark. Yeah. Well, I remember those days when I was had my kids at home before full-time school as well, and it's so much harder to dedicate time to anything. So from September onwards, it'll be a different world for you almost, really.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It's a busy. Obviously, I've got a few more than 15 weddings this year, so it's going to be it's going to be quite busy. And there was a point when it was like everyone needed to pivot. Like we're all wedding photographers, and it was like you need to do more things. We need to do other things. So. I teach photography a couple of nights a week.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I've got that written down. Yeah, how's that going?
It's going well. It's been really interesting actually, kind of learning about photography, because I think one of the reasons that I've always felt a little bit like a fraud is because I've got no formal qualification. It's kind of all self-taught, and so it's been quite interesting learning what I think they should know, and kind of like just kind of double checking bits of information and things that I do, and then being like, oh, I'm okay, I am doing that right, that's good. So again,
cool. What kind of ages are you teaching?
So they're hobbyists. So I've got a range of there's a couple in their late 60s. I've got a few people in their 40s. So they're older adults.
So it's like night school type thing.
Yes, yeah, and it's really nice because there's no pressure. Like there's no qualification. It's really they just need to come and enjoy learning about photography. So
that's really cool. Have you been showing them your work?
Yeah, I started off quite heavily showing them more of my work, and I felt like after week 3, I was like, I need some more inspiration for these guys because I don't want to just see my kids and my wedding work. And but yeah, so it's been really fun seeing them getting excited. And remembering when I first started doing photography and doing little things that I thought were really cool, and I was like, and then making them do them, and then like hearing this, lady in her late 60s like getting really excited because she's been able to take a picture and capture motion. And she's like, I got it. And I was like,
that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. That must be really quite rewarding, I think. That's really cool.
It has been, actually. It has been. But it's been really time consuming as well. It's zapped so much of my free time because I'm obviously planning the lessons as well. But yeah.
And you've diversified as well because you're doing branding photography as well, aren't you? I
am. Again, this is one of those things that I've started to do, and then I need to give it a really good push. So I did Amy Robertson's course.
Oh, cool, yeah.
In January, and which was really good and kind of set me up, and then lockdown happened, and I felt I kind of lost a little bit. Well, I think it was during lockdown that the course was going on. I kind of lost a bit of motivation, but then I've shot I think four different brands, and I really enjoyed it, and completely different to documentary work, which again was a little bit out of my comfort zone. I was like, this, you really do need to kind of pose people,
okay, yeah, that would be well out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, it was, but then I think what was important is like you still really need to connect with them, and I think that's what I enjoy doing. I like meeting people, I like talking to people, and I like making them laugh. And if you can do that, then you can nice moments in between, kind of saying, okay, lean on this desk, and then just start talking to them. And so I don't think I'll ever be very good at the posing stuff. I don't really want to be, but if I can get a portfolio of images that feel quite authentic and real, then that's what I'd like to do. So
that's awesome. It's a cool name as well. Shoot and Tell. Is that what you called it?
Thank you. Shoot and Tell. Yeah.
I like that. That's very cool. That was really cool. Well, it's good. I think it's really good to have those different kind of arms, and it has so taught us, isn't it, how diversification is so important, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But then don't pivot too much like I've done and start doing too many different things. And I think I'm definitely juggling a few too many balls at the moment.
Well, you'll have more time to do all that juggling though from September. So
I hope so. I hope it's as good as you're making out to me. I'm hoping that I've got loads of time and that the 9 till 3 doesn't go super fast and I get nothing done.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. It does go quickly. I've got to pick up my kids in like an hour. Oh, you do the school run as well, do you?
Yeah. I do indeed. And my kids are still staggered at the moment. So one of them finishes at like 1:45 and the other one's at like 1:15.
Oh no, that's annoying.
I know. Ugh. And when you've only got like 3 hours in the afternoon, that half an hour you feel really hard done by.
Yeah, that sucks. Are they far? Is the school itself? Are they in 2 different schools or?
No.
Oh no, because the one. Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, no. Molly's at so she's in preschool and Jacob's at school. So but it's the same school. But luckily we live very close to it. So I kind of run home with Jacob, then bring him home, and then I run back up the hill to get Molly. So yeah. So and it's a hill as well. It's a hill, and yeah, it's quite a steep hill.
Oh, I know. That's good exercise though for the day, isn't it? It's good exercise.
It is. Yeah.
Erica, let's change tack.
Okay.
Do you? Oh, you mentioned how you laid in bed and watched a lot of telly. So you a bit of a Netflix fan?
I am. Yeah. This is one of those things I'm like, I should do okay with this little part, but I'm going to do really badly. I know I will. But yeah, okay, I'm bracing my knee. I'm holding it tight. I'm like, come on. You can do this.
You're ready for it. You know what's coming. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to read out a few synopses of either a movie or series, and let's see if you can get it. Okay.
My heart's going all funny now. I've been really good.
There is no pressure. You can't win anything. So
I just want to get them right.
Okay, so the first one it's a movie. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so Clarice Starling, an FBI agent, seeks help from Hannibal Lecter, a psychopathic serial killer and former psychiatrist, in order to apprehend another serial killer who has been claiming female victims.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, boom, good one, straight in. Yes, that's good. I haven't seen that in years. It's good.
No, it's a very good film, isn't it?
That is good. Okay. Oh, because we've spoke before. We're the same age. Oh, it's only a month between us, actually.
I know.
Okay. So 1 out of 1 so far, Erica. It's very good. Okay. This next one is a lot more recent. I think it's probably about 4 years old, and it's a series. Okay. It's been and this is the description for the first episode. Okay. While recovering from nasty breakups with their exes, Mickey makes a scene at church and Gus stumbles into a confusing sexual encounter.
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, that's more an obscure one. That it's a series on Netflix called Love.
Oh, do you know what? And you love it. And I know you love that. I get a bonus for knowing that you love it.
You do, yes. Okay. It's so good.
but I haven't watched it. I think I always forget. I'm like, what's that one that he likes?
Honestly, yeah, you got to watch it. It's honest, awesomely modern, just kind of romantic comedy drama. It's so good. Yeah, check it out.
It's on the list. It's on the list.
Okay. You get a bonus point for knowing that I like it, though. Yeah, so okay. I love it. Okay, final one, Erica. Final one. Okay, this film details the rise of British rock group Oasis and the creativity and chaos that brothers Noel and Liam Gallagher brought to the iconic band.
Oh,
it's a documentary, actually.
Is it going to be like named after one of their songs?
It is exactly that. It is.
Oh. It's not going to be Wonderwall, though, is it?
It's not. No. No. Are you an Oasis fan?
I was.
Yeah, like 20 years ago.
Yeah, not anymore. And my brain is getting tired, and I can't remember things.
I think it's their first single they ever released. I think it was.
Now that's like two things I should have known. No, I'm not going to get there.
Okay, it's Supersonic.
Oh, okay, there we go.
That's a really good documentary as well, actually, especially if you did like Oasis. So you did well then, though. That's good.
You didn't do well. Don't be kind. I didn't.
No, honestly, a lot of people have not got any, so that was good. You got like one and a half, kind of. That was really good.
Yeah,
that was good. And that was an obscure one, that Oasis documentary one, especially. So yeah.
The last time I listened, I got all three of them. I was really proud of myself, but hey, never mind.
Okay, Erica, let's change tack again. A nice little a life question. When you've reached old age and you're looking back at your life, what would you like to think about the life you've led?
Oh. Well, do you know what? I think this is going to get serious and deep. I think when you go through a little cancer scare, you kind of do that anyway. And I think so. Last year was very much one of those, like, there was lots of like deep kind of thoughts and looking back and thinking, but for me, everything is my family. Like, they mean everything to me, and giving them a good life and setting them up for the future for when I'm not around, I think is what is my ultimate aim, is to give them a good and happy life so that they can enjoy those memories when I'm not around. Which is a bit morbid, but that's kind of, I've always been a little bit like that.
No, I totally get that. I think that's beautiful as well.
Hence probably one of the reasons why I did the lockdown pictures as well. I think that was very, very much at the forefront of my mind. I wanted them to remember that we had a happy life. And we're a good family. We enjoy each other. They are only 7 and 4, and that could change. But at the moment, everything's. I'm really lucky and really blessed to have such a wonderful bunch. So that's that. I'm super proud of that. I'm not even sure if that was what you asked. But
totally. No, it's awesome. It's so cool. You've got all that imagery to show them all that time. Yeah, I think that's magic.
Really, like, they care. When you're taking pictures, like, I really hope they want to look at them as well.
That's true.
I'm gonna be like, come on, guys, let's sit down and look at these like 4,000 pictures. We're like, we don't give a shit, Mum. I'm going out. Sit down.
That's funny. So have you shown them any of the Reportage Family Awards, award-winning images of them in it? Do they know they're in award-winning images?
They do. They are interested in them, and they obviously. So obviously the picture of Jacob with the chicken pots when he was in the National Portrait Gallery.
Yeah, I was just gonna. I've got that highlighted next to ask you about that as well. Actually, yeah.
I was worried we wouldn't talk about it, and my husband's like, "Are you going to talk about the National Portrait Gallery?" I was like, "Well, more than likely, I'll probably mention it." I was like, "Gosh, I'll pop it up now."
No, I've got it highlighted to ask you.
I'm like, it's my one claim to fame, and I'm like, I can't not talk about it.
Oh, so, of course, okay. That's awesome. That is.
Yeah, like, you introduce it. It sounds
okay. I've got on your site. You mentioned how a career highlight, and rightly so, I said, was winning a gallery spot with a renowned. Is it Taylor Wessing? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. Taylor Wessing.
Yeah. photographic portrait prize at the National Portrait Gallery. And I remember when this happened, because I remember you know, on your Facebook and stuff. It's proper amazing. Yeah. So I've got it here. Can you tell us about that experience? And it was a portrait of your son with chicken.
Yeah. No one needs to ask me to talk about that. I just generally talk about it with everyone. And it's like, yeah, years ago now. I'm like, let me tell you about this. So as I mentioned, I did your workshop, and then you said about entering competitions and that everyone should feel they should, give it a try. And after that, I kind of went home and I started looking up different competitions I could enter. And the Taylor Wessing Portrait Prize came up, and Jacob had just had chickenpox, and I'd taken a shot of him. And I kind of saw the previous work, and I thought, I feel like this could sit quite well in that collection. So I thought, I'll give it a try. So I entered it and didn't think anything about it for a time. And then one day I checked my junk mail, and I got an email saying that I was through to the next round, and I needed to get a print made up and brought to London, and I had like a day to get it done. So I was like,
just a day, really?
Because it was in my junk mail for like almost 2 weeks.
Oh no, gosh!
But can you imagine if I hadn't have checked? I'm so glad I checked.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. Yeah. And I wouldn't have known. Did you know about getting like kind of like a real professional print done and everything then and stuff?
Well, I'm quite lucky that I used to work for an art publishing company. So a guy that was working for the art group had then gone and set up his own business. So I kind of called him up and I was like, help me. He just did it all for me, which was the best.
That's cool.
He even got it couriered. And so that was like a little fairy godmother who just fixed everything and made sure the print looked amazing. So yeah, he's very good. Dot printing. There we go. little
plug. Yeah, they've got to do that. And when did you find out that after that, when did you find out you'd made like, an exhibition place?
So yeah, I got the email. It was probably about 3 weeks after that I knew, and I was just chuffed to get through to the next round because I didn't really know that much about the show beforehand. And then obviously once I'd made it through, I started to kind of look into it and kind of realise how prestigious it was and what a big deal it was to even get into this round of it. So I was super chuffed that I'd got this far, and then when I found out, I got emailed to say that I'd made it through to the exhibition. I just couldn't believe it. It was like such. Yeah. Do
you remember where you were when you got that email?
I remember exactly where we were. We were on our way up to Scotland. I was shooting my cousin's wedding, so we had the kids in the back of the car, and I had hardly any signal. We were parked up in, I think it was Ullswater. No. Oh yeah, we stopped halfway. So it was Ullswater, and I got the message there, and I just remember this moment with my husband and the kids, like in the car park. We just must have looked ridiculous because we were just jumping and hugging, and Jacob's like, "What have we won? What have we won?" And I was like, "We haven't really won anything. Just means your picture's going to be in a gallery." He's like, "What's a gallery?" And I was like, "All right, Jacob, you're kind of killing the buzz a bit, but yeah, it's really good."
Oh, that's so cool.
He's very aware of the fact that it feels weird because I'm using his image and the kids, their faces are very much part of my my progression and my photography, and I do worry that one day they might not like that. But for now, while he's
a photo of him with all his chickenpox spots, he's gonna love that.
Like, because when we went to the exhibition and he came along and saw it, and his little face, he was so embarrassed, bless him. He was so looking forward to it. So he was only 4 when we went. And he said, "I want to wear a tie." I was like, we don't even own ties, but for some reason he knew that wearing a tie meant he was going to be smart. So we got him a little tie, and he wore like a little smart outfit. And when we walked in and like he saw his picture, like he just went up to it and just kind of hid his face in his own picture. So much so that the lady who was making sure no one touched the pictures came and shouted at him, and then he started to cry.
Oh no, really?
So yeah,
that's an amazing story about. I love that.
It didn't go particularly well, but it was such an experience. And like the opening night of the gallery was one of I've never been more proud of myself. And again, it was one of those times where I think like this is when I realised that my anxiety and my like imposter syndrome is a real big problem. It's not just something that people kind of lightly talk about. It's something that actually can ruin moments. Like the first thing I thought when I went into the gallery with all these amazing artists and all their amazing artwork, I thought that mine shouldn't be there and they're going to realise. And I kept on looking at mine thinking, it's not very good, it's not very good. And I don't know why I did that, because I love that shot. And I completely ruined a good 15 minutes, just get myself in a panic. And I had to kind of, again, be like, just stop it. Like, what are you doing? And I do my brain works in this, I've got two parts of my head. And one part is really encouraging and really excited about photography. And the other one is awful and is really kind of can hold me back. So I think that made me aware that I'm quite self-destructive and I need to keep myself in check a little bit. So
it's so interesting to hear, Erica, and I just feel exactly the same. I really do. Totally, I really do. Not as prestigious as yours, but when I, found out I was the Rangefinder 30 Rising Star, I thought, what, they must be doing it by, there's another Alan Law, or they must have been doing it alphabetically or something, because it's just ridiculous, So I feel like that's still totally every day, everything to do with reportage and my own photography. I feel like if someone's just going to find out that I have no idea what I'm doing, it's a horrible thing, isn't it? It's horrible, really.
No, it really is. It doesn't sit well. It's not a nice feeling, and I would definitely rather. I'd love some of the confidence that other people have.
Yes, so would I. They should share it out equally between the world.
Very greedy, very.
But that must have been amazing to see it up there in that gallery. That's in the National Portrait Gallery. That is so cool.
I still have to pinch myself. And a picture that I took of my son, the fact that my son has had his face hanging up in the National Portrait Gallery is one thing. But then the fact that it's a picture that I took. It's such a, I feel I'm really proud of it. Yeah, really, really proud. So,
rightly so. It's awesome, Erica. It's proper cool. I'll if you don't mind, I can include that image on the post, so people are listening to it now. They can head to thisreportage.com or thisreportagefamily.com, and I'll show that image. And the Reportage Award that we spoke about earlier as well. Not quite as prestigious, but still very cool.
Do you know what's really funny though? When I finished. Once the excitement of the National Portrait Gallery had calmed down, I remember saying to my husband, I was like, I'm really chuffed, but I felt like that was quite a lucky shot because, it's my family, it's my kid, but I think I'll believe that I'm an okay photographer if I ever get a This Is Reportage award. I remember saying that I felt that it didn't really, it felt like I'd taken a picture that sat outside of the genre that I was trying to craft a career out of. So I remember saying, until I get This Is Reportage, I'm not really going to think that. So that was up there. So when I got my first This Is Reportage Awards, I was so chuffed, just as chuffed. And it meant, to come from a part of the industry that is so well respected was such an achievement for me.
Oh, that's cool, Erica, and so deserved though as well. And you've won 3 Reportage Awards. This is awesome. As I said, most people have not won a single one. So it's proper awesome. But you mentioned it again about because it was your own son, but honestly I don't feel like that. It doesn't matter. You're still taking the photograph, you're still seeing the moment, you're still seeing the art and the composition, and it doesn't matter that the subjects.
No, I guess not. It's
still proper skill.
Maybe.
It is, Erica. It is 100%. It is totally. Man, this is so fun. I want to ask you about something else because you mentioned it on your bio because it sounds very interesting. And it says you filmed on stage at Glastonbury. So what was that? What were you doing then?
Well, I was filming on stage. Funnily enough. I was. So my degree was in media production and management, and a guy who was on the course with us, he kind of left and started up his own production company, and he got this gig basically filming on one of the stages. It was the left field stage, so it was kind of filming political debates, poetry, and then live music as well. So we had a range of different people on our little stage, from Billy Bragg, Tony Benn doing talks, and Damien Rice kind of doing a little set, and it was awesome. I did that a couple of years in a row, and it was so much fun. So we were just filming, so it was just kind of close-ups of camera work, and I think it was really bad. No one really minded because it was Glastonbury, and no one really looked at the big screens. So it was so much fun though. Yeah.
That does sound cool. I've never been to Glastonbury ever, actually.
I loved when I went, I really loved it. The thought of going now, I'm not sure. When I see people going with their kids, I'm like, oh, that looks I think that looks fun. And then I start thinking it through in my head, and I'm like, I don't think that looks fun, actually.
I could not imagine going to a festival with kids. So I've been to Leeds and Reading Festival. I just can't imagine taking kids.
No.
Mad. But, so you were doing video kind of work. Do you do video work in your kind of, wedding family stuff as well?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of, so I think for a while I wasn't sure which direction I was going to go in, if I was going to do videography or photography. So I've kind of done both. I've been a bit of a jack of all trades and master of none. I kind of dibble in.
No, Erica, stop it! You're master of loads.
But when you kind of do lots of different things instead of doing one thing really well, and that kind of plays in my head a little bit. But less so now because I'm having a talking to myself and telling myself off. But yeah, I've done some I had a part-time job for about 7 years, whilst I was doing my wedding work, which was doing little videos for estate agents, which doesn't sound very glamorous, but it was quite fun. There was one estate agent in Camden, this guy who runs a thing called the Camden Bus, and I got to do a really cool kind of quirky video for him, just kind of walking around taking shots of him, and edited really interestingly. So the company I worked for were quite nice at letting me kind of do my own thing, and they didn't really give me much direction. They're happy for me to just experiment, and as long as I kind of did the bits they needed. So I've kind of always had done video as well, but never that much. Like even now, when I said about pivoting, I've been doing some video work. I did Mick Shah's kind of wedding to video.
Oh yeah, cool.
Also, it was kind of like a top up for me because my degree was media production. So again, it kind of made me feel a bit more confident. I knew what I was doing. And then after that, I've done some videos for a local school. I've done a couple of wedding videos where I've taken pictures and shot at the same time.
Oh, really? Both? Oh, and how was that?
Do you know, it was really fun. I really loved it. It was because they were smaller weddings, it gave me that opportunity. And the couples would talk to me and be like, oh, do you think we want to set up a camera so we can film something coming down the aisle? And I was like, well, look, I've got a spare camera. I'll set that camera up. And then I just thought, well, if I just kind of grab a few extra shots as I'm going, maybe I can pull something together. And I've done that a few times now, and the couples have loved it. So it's not in any way like an all singing, all dancing, amazing video, but it's kind of enough. It's enough for the couples, and
that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you going to offer that more going forward? And are you tempted at all to just go, fully into wedding videography?
No. I think no. I don't. I think I'll only do it if it's a very small wedding, because you ultimately, and I say this to my couples, you're going to miss something. If I'm doing both, if I'm filming something, then the photography is going to be sacrificed. So they have to be comfortable with that. And I don't work with a second shooter. I'm not of the opinion that when you're having a wedding, you need every moment fully captured. I think you can give a couple a really good collection of images, kind of without putting that pressure on yourself that everything needs to be captured. And because we're constantly shooting, I don't stop. The minute I kind of turn up at a wedding, I'm clicking away, and I'm going to capture as much as I can see. But there's always things that you can't capture. So where do you stop? If you kind of put that pressure on yourself that, well, 2 photographers will get this, I'm like, well, 3 photographers would get that. And you have to stop at some point. And for the couples, because ultimately it's for them. I've always felt that the galleries I produce, they're happy with them. They haven't felt that anything was lacking. They've always kind of said that I was able to capture loads for one person. So so to do a tiny little bit of video here and there kind of was okay, but you're definitely going to sacrifice something if I haven't got someone else shooting. So
that's true. Totally.
So, no,
it's interesting. I've never. Oh, sorry.
We're too polite. We should just talk over each other.
I know, it's funny, isn't it? I just thinking that I've never tried videography at all, and I it's such a different art. So I don't think I'd be very good at it. It looks difficult.
No, it's not. I think you'd be fine. You'd be if you've got a good eye and you can see moments. I don't think it's that much of a stretch. I genuinely don't. But again, I'm not. I'm not a videographer, so I can say that with confidence. But I think anyway, if you're a good photographer, you can be a good videographer if you're willing to open your brain up to that skill. Definitely. So I think it should be encouraged. And what I would love to do with my family work, and this is what that one page on my website, I would love to offer videography and photography side by side for families, because the pressure's off. It's not a wedding. you know, if you don't capture one moment that's happening during the day, it's not so much of a problem.
That's true.
But if I can make little videos, because, you know, I'm always making videos for my family and kind of, you know, telling our story, not just as a photographer, but as a videographer. And I think they're equally as important, and video doesn't always get the same kind of respect or kind of kudos as photography. But when, you know, videos of your kids are so different to a picture of your kids, and it's like, why do we only value the photos when someone can make a really good video as well? So I'd love to offer documentary videography, like for a day where you kind of mix up both. So that's kind of it's on the to-do list.
Oh, that sounds a really good idea. Yeah, that sounds really great to do, Erica. That's
just
really cool.
Need to ship Ollie off to school, and then all these things will happen.
Yes, they're all going to happen. You're going to have a very busy September. All these things. This is awesome.
I'm just going to go to bed. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to climb into bed and sleep.
You're going to watch Love, that Netflix series. You're going to watch that.
That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it all will happen the year after.
Oh, Erica, we've been talking nearly an hour. It has flown. It's really flown. I want before we go, I've really enjoyed talking to you, and thank you. I've really enjoyed it. You're so fab to talk to. It's awesome. Really cool.
Are you happy to use the word fab again now? You had a podcast. Like, I remember listening last year. He's a really interesting guy, but he was like, "Don't say fab, Alan. Just don't say fab."
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
It really made me laugh, because I really thought, well, he's really confident. He's like, "Don't say fab. I just don't like fab." And then you were like laughing, but you are fab.
Oh, yes. No, I remember. Yeah, that was David Ryan, wasn't it? I do remember that. Yes, that was funny. No, yeah, I can. You can definitely use the word fab.
And say fab now. Whenever you say it, I always think of that, and it just makes me smile. So I'm glad.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I can definitely use that word about you, because you are totally fab, Erica.
Oh, thank you very
much. I want to ask you this before I go, because again, I find something that this is really interesting. So you said that on your About page that you've shot a Don't Tell the Bride wedding.
I did. Wow. This is one of those. Yeah. So this was one of those other times when, like, someone was guiding me to do weddings. I'd only shot 2 weddings. One of them was a good friend, and the other one was like a freebie for someone's brother. So I shot 2 weddings. Neither of them I'd made any money, but I was like, okay, I've got to do my little website. I did my little website, and then I got a call from this groom who was getting married, and said, I'm part of Don't Tell the Bride. So my third job, my first actual paid job, was for Don't Tell the Bride.
No way, that's insane.
I have no idea.
Just before you go on about, just to say, if someone's never watched it, so it's like a British TV series, isn't it? A documentary series where the groom organises the whole wedding, doesn't he? And the bride doesn't know anything about it at all.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. So go on. Yeah. So I can't believe your first paid wedding is for Don't Tell the Bride.
And I was just like, how in the world did you find me? And I never asked him that, because it was such a whirlwind of kind of like, it was very full on. But it was, I don't, to this day, I have no idea how he came across my website, which must have been like hidden in the depths of I don't know where it was, but he stumbled across it, and I got the call. And
when you got that call, weren't you like mega scared? Were you in 2 minds whether to do it or not, knowing?
You can. Hopefully, I've got across to you how nervous I get about that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't believe your nerves should stop you doing things. But so I just embraced it. I was like, I have to do it. I'm not going to not do this. This is an awesome opportunity. I got my husband to come and second shoot for me, and my husband, because I was so scared. And my husband's not a photographer; he's an architect. But he's okay. He's okay at taking pictures. So
it's okay. Yeah. That's cool. That's high praise there.
But he used to be quite good, and I think that he's over the years he's become really shit. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm like, you take a picture of me, and or maybe I'm good enough to critique him to a level, and my husband, and I just tell him. I'm like,
will he listen to this back?
Yeah, he will. I don't want him to. Like last night, he was like, shall I test you? Shall I ask you some questions? And I don't even talk about it. Just don't talk about it, because it's going to make me really nervous. And then I think I said it too harshly, and he looked a bit sad.
That's funny.
He was gonna become Alan for the evening.
Oh, poor guy. What was the experience like then of doing that wedding? And where was it? Was it at a different kind of venue, or what was it?
That was it's when I was living in London. So that was at Stationers Hall in London. It was really interesting. So he was like, was like into history. So he was all in period costume. The bride was like an Essex hairdresser, and I only say it in that way to kind of help you visualize kind of the different, that they were completely different, and they really exaggerated the differences for the show. And and it was quite sad. I think there was a lot of tears that you don't see. I think they hadn't really, like, you kind of assume people think about what impact it will have on your wedding day, having a film crew there. But I genuinely don't think these guys had thought about it until the day. And then they very quickly realised that it's not their day. It's the film crew's day. The film crew made it very clear to me. It's like, this is our wedding. We're paying for it. This is, if we need you out the way, you're out the way. And so I like to, I play by the rules. So the minute someone tells me not to do something, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm good.
Yeah, I get that.
So I was just like, fine, I'll stand here right at the back. I won't even take it because you're the boss.
Were you able to show the images and things?
Yeah. No, I had to wait for the programme to be aired. And I think very quickly I felt that I just felt really sorry for the couple. Like, there was hardly any moments that we would class as like genuine or authentic. And there was like one point during the service where the brother was doing a reading, and you could see people welling up. The bride was starting to kind of cry, and I was like, it feels like a wedding. This is real. And then all of a sudden, like, this really big, like, Hurley sound engineer, like, just walked up to her and like tapped on her cleavage because the microphone was poking up. He just didn't care. Like, there was a microphone in the way, and it poking back down, and everyone stopped listening to the brother, all looking at the sound man, and the moment was lost. And it was so
surreal.
Yeah, and that kind of summed up the day. But it was brilliant to be part of. I really loved it.
What an experience, Erica. That's so cool. And your first proper paid wedding. It's like
really weird.
A nationally broadcast TV program. It's awesome. You must have watched the episode.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But what's annoying is you can see more of my husband than you can of me because he's really tall. So every time I was like, everyone's like, Steve, don't tell. I was like, no, it was me. It was me. He was over there because I was really nervous.
Can you see yourself a few times though? Because they hardly ever show the photographer though, do they?
Yeah, no. I thought, like, when I went to knock on the door, I was like really like, okay, like hold my, like, sort your posture out, make sure your hair looks nice. And I was like all ready for my moment. They just didn't give a shit about me at all. I was just like,
oh, what an experience. So that is so cool. Have you've got it on your website because I read it on your about bit. At the time, did you put it on your site saying like as featured on Don't Tell the Bride and stuff?
Yeah, I only had another 2 weddings to show off, so I went big with pushing that. And I think that kind of it helped me kind of pick up clients very early on. It seemed, but again, I think in a weird way, it kind of underpinned my anxiety of feeling a bit like a fraud because I'd got this quite a big like gig really that was I didn't feel I deserved it yet. I'd only just started, and very quickly I kind of like leapfrogged to the front of having like this little thing that people seem to respect and be like, well, she must be a good photographer. She's been on Don't Tell the Bride. I'm like, I'm not. I've only shot 3. But yeah, it's
very cool. Very cool. But some people who suffer like we do, nerves and anxiety, some people would have said no to that, and you didn't. You felt that anxiety, but you still went for it. So that's awesome to do that.
I think it's important to do that because I'd hate to really kick myself. Like, I know there's some things I've done and I think, it's a shame I do. But ultimately, I feel, like I said, I feel out of my comfort zone more than in it for most of my life. So, we have to do it. I think it's important.
Yeah, it's going to age us, though. Don't you think it's going to age us prematurely to live like that?
It's not going to age us. It's aged me. I'm definitely,
No, I'm still in denial. I'm in denial that maybe it'll happen in the future.
That's fine. You can be, but I'm definitely feeling it. The last year has really aged us. Like, I tried to make sure I took a few pictures of myself, and I really want to book someone to do some family pictures of myself because, I'm really aware that I'm not in any of my pictures. Like, I'm in hardly any of them, and I think
you don't want your husband taking them because he's not very good at photography.
He's not very good. I actually need to fork out some money and pay for a good documentary family photography. Where could I find?
Wow, there might be a good site for that. I've heard of some.
Oh, do you know what? I know of so many now, like so many that I'd be so chuffed to shoot it. So yeah, it was definitely going to get done. But again, it's on the list.
I get that. We need to do that as well. Definitely. It's important. As you say, it's been one of the best things about starting Reportage Family is seeing that wealth of talent out there. It's just absolutely amazing documentary family photographers. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're unreal. They're so good and so inspiring. I love looking at those pictures. I think I get a bit more excited about the family galleries than I do the wedding ones, because I don't know. That to me, it was like a wedding is it's a day. It's a day in our life, and it's an important. Obviously, it's super important. But like families are just to me it's everything. And yeah, when you can capture someone's, the connections in a family, and I just love that. Yeah, I think they're amazing.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And there's so much, I think because of the nature of it, they're more varied in general, really, because they can be from any kind of moment, any kind of day. And weddings definitely follow more of a structure, don't they, as well?
Definitely. No, they're very good.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Oh, man. Erica, it's so cool talking to you. I've absolutely loved it. Thank you for giving up your time and just for being so open and honest. It's been awesome.
Oh, thank you very much. Tuesdays is normally when I prep for my class. So tonight's class is going to be sketchy.
Well, I apologise to your students, but it's been definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no. Thank you, Erica. And people listening now, head to thisreportage.com or thisreportagefamily.com. I'll include the Taylor Wessing prize. That's the image that you got there, and the Reportage Award that we spoke about as well. And a link through to your website. And hopefully I'll get to, I haven't seen you in ages. It's been years. When was that? When was it?
That was 2018.
Man, God, yeah. And so we'll be doing, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're doing this Reportage and this Reportage Family Christmas party in London. It'd be cool if you can make it.
Yes, I definitely will. Definitely.
Cool. Where is Hertfordshire? I'm so bad with geography.
It's not far from London.
They got no excuse then. No excuse, Erica.
And there's loads of us. We've got such a gang. There's quite a good little gang of us in Hitchin. I mentioned Rafe, who which is, sorry, I've gone completely. I've just added a little waffle on the end, but Rafe Abrook, who is part of this.
I wrote his name yesterday because he won a story award that I was announcing.
He's got quite a few awards. And when I moved to Hitchin, I knew of Rafe, and I knew that he was this awesome photographer. And then like a little wall, and I remember thinking, I'm not sure I want to do weddings anymore. And then I found out I was getting a new next door neighbour, and it was Rafe.
What?
And how crazy is that?
Well, he's actually your next door neighbour.
He was my next door neighbour for a time. Yeah, he's not anymore, but he lives in Hitchin, and we've become good friends. And I was like, that's really weird. And had that not happened, I might have started overthinking weddings again. And but like another pull into.
It all happens for a reason.
Yeah, but sorry, you were nicely tying up this chat, and then I started talking.
No, it's
really quiet now.
Oh no, it's all great, Erica. Honestly, so cool. Thank you again. It's just really awesome, really fab. Yeah, I'm just really happy. I've just got this big smile. I'm so glad I spoke to you for this. It's been nice.
Thank you.
And honestly, if you can make the party, it'd be cool to see you.
I'll be there.
Awesome stuff. Well, you keep well, Erica. I hope you have a good season.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the 80th episode of the This Is Reportage podcast. Erica is just so great to talk to. Really hope you enjoyed listening. Head to thisisreportage.com or thisreportagefamily.com for a link to her website and to see the specific Reportage Award and Reportage Family Award you talked about, and the image that earned her a gallery spot with the renowned Taylor Wessing Photographic Portrait Prize at the National Portrait Gallery. We have lots more episodes of the podcast available where we speak to family and wedding photographers from all over the world, delve into our back catalogue to hear from the likes of Frank Boutonnet, Adam Johnson, Ange Waterton, Menino Cognes Menina, Logan Westham, Rowena Meadows, Gretchen Yost, Christoph Clays, Fabio Marula, and many more too. If you're not yet a member of This Reportage or This Reportage family, check out all the benefits of joining us, including an unlimited number of images on your profile, 60 individual award and 18 story award entries per year, invites to our physical meetups and parties, exclusive discounts, hours of educational videos featuring tips and advice from some of the world's best photographers, and much more. Submissions are open now for our next award collections. The deadline is the same for both our wedding site and our family site. Submit by 23:59 BST on 24th of July 2021. No poses, nothing staged. This is Reportage. And this is bye for now.